Card King, here I come. Hello, sports fans, sports collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I am your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com. Your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line, I welcome to the program a former Major League Baseball infielder. He played 13 seasons in pro baseball for the Kansas City A's, Milwaukee Braves, Washington Senators, the New York Mets, and the Cleveland Indians. And welcome to the show, Lou Klimchock. Lou, great to have you.
Thank you. Great to be here. And anytime we can talk baseball, even though this is the Winter League we're talking, it's always good talking baseball.
Oh, always an honor to speak with a professional athlete. And Lou, I know it's been a while ago, but 1957, going through your career after graduating high school, you get the opportunity to sign with the KC Athletics. Firstly, how did the KC A's hear about Lou Klimchock?
That's a very good question, coming from the town that I came from, right outside of Latrobe. And if you know where Latrobe, Pennsylvania is, that's the home of Arnold Palmer, and Rolling Rock Beer. Other than that, not much came out of there. But anyhow, a friend of mine was the recreation director there in our youth baseball. He was also the coach for St. Vincent College, baseball coach. And he had some pretty good contacts with the Cardinals. And I used to attend their summer camps. They used to do a summer camp back then, because this is prior to the draft that we're familiar with now. So they would come through and do these camps. So I was doing those summer camps from age 13 to age 17. And after I graduated from high school, the Kansas City scout was there, and they made the first offer, and I wanted to get out of town. So I signed that first contract, 1957.
1957. Now, you were signed by the scout Bruno Betzel, if I'm correct.
Yes, yeah. There was a local, as we used to call them, bird dog scouts back then, and he used to cover all of the, excuse the expression, the beer league. Even though I didn't drink beer, I used to play in the beer league. He's the one that recommended me to Bruno. So Bruno came in and he saw me play a couple of American Legion games. And then they signed me after, as soon as I was out of high school. And I guess it was about 2 weeks later, I was on a train to Grand Island, Nebraska, which was a rookie league back then, which is some pretty good baseball.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, because, you performed very well in Nebraska. I mean, 17 years old, you batted almost 300, batted 273 in 39 games. So, how did you find the competition when you first got there? I know it's a while ago.
Yeah. Hey, that was a real eye-opener, when you come from Latrobe, Hofstra, Pennsylvania. You're the big fish in a little pond. When I got to Grand Island, there was about 100 guys, that were trying to make a 25-man team. And I said, holy smoke, what did I get into? And the only thing that I made up my mind to do was, they're not going to ever see me walking on this baseball field. So I just, worked. I just was a workaholic. And I think through my hustle, and I did have the ability, I could hit pretty good, and had the ability, and I made that starting nine lineup, as a 17-year-old. Yeah. It was a challenge. It was a challenge, though, mentally and emotionally, to get over it. But it was what I wanted to do, so it all worked out fine for me. And at the end of that year, I only played 39. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you hit pretty good.
Yeah, I did, and I was hitting well over 300. And I tore up my knee. I jammed my knee, meniscus back then, and but I still tried to play on it. And I think I went from about 310 down to 270. I should have hit over 300 in that league. It was a good league. Good friend of mine, one other Hall of Famer that played in that league at that time was, and I still communicate with him. You may have even had him on, and that was Jim Cott.
Oh, wow, okay. No, I haven't spoken to Jim, but yeah. So you played with Jim Cott?
Played against him. I played against Jim in every league on the way up.
Wow.
I played against him. He was Go ahead.
He was some pitcher.
Yeah, he was good. He could really throw when he was 18, 19, 20. And then he hurt his arm, and Johnny Sane got a hold of him and showed him what that sinker was all about. And Jim was a pretty smart guy, really had good command, and that's why he had the success for 20-some years. Very, very good competitor.
And Lou, 1958, you were playing in the Pioneer League, and boy, did you smash that league up. I mean, there you batted nearly 400. You led the league in hits, runs scored, and batting average. I mean, that is unbelievable. Nearly 400 that year, 58.
Yeah, that was one of those years where everything fell into place. And I can remember a catcher by then, when we first started the season, I didn't get off a good start. And my catcher, you never forget the guy by the name of Tony DeGennaro out of Brooklyn, New York. Anyhow, he said, Lou, you got to set back a little bit more. He said, you're kind of jumping at the ball. And just that little suggestion there helped me stay back on the ball where I was hitting the ball to all fields. And I was always a good contact hitter. Didn't strike out much. I was a line drive hitter, completely away from the metrics that we see today. Didn't loft the ball, just one that hit line drives through the middle. And if you got your pitch, you hit it out of the ballpark.
Now, at Pocatello, where the team you played for, you were Rookie of the Year that year, right? 58, Rookie of the Year winner. Rookie
of the Year, most valuable player. And it's kind of interesting getting back to Jim Cott. We bump into each other a lot at some of the alumni activities. And Jim, he had the best ERA, most strikeouts, most wins in the league. And he came up to me and says, Lou, they could have given me one of the awards, the Rookie of the Year or the MVP. They didn't have to give you both of them.
So you beat Jim Cott in that area.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Jim, yeah, he was, and first of all, a very good pitcher, but very nice gentleman.
All right, now your major league debut, it came in 58. I believe it was September 27th. How well do you remember that game?
Pretty well. First of all, I got called up from Pocatello, and I sat on the bench and just did a lot of things, working out every game, thinking you're going to get to play. So I was probably there pretty close to a month, before I actually got in the ball game. So I got in the last two ball games, and one of them was a Saturday afternoon, and Hall of Famer Early Wynn was pitching. And I think I was leading off, and I think I flied out three times to reach right field. He had this nice little cut slider. You could see it, get on top of it. But if you didn't get on top of it, it was a fly ball instead of a line drive. So I flied out three times, but once I did do a attempted sacrifice bunt, but I wasn't successful, so I was on first base. And I don't know, somebody hit a double or a triple, and I scored a winning run for that ball game. So we beat Early Wynn.
Amazing. So you scored the winning run after reaching a fielder's choice against the future Hall of Famer Early Wynn.
Yeah, and I did go for 5 that game, and then the next day was the last day of the season, a Sunday game, and again I was leading off, and my first at bat, Comiskey Park, I hit a home run. I hit a home run in the upper deck in Comiskey Park for my first base hit. And there's a little history on that, Brian. The pitcher that I hit that home run off of. Yeah, the pitcher that I hit that home run off of, he was a teenager. And I was the first teenager to hit a home run off of another teenager in Major League Baseball.
Is that right?
Yeah, look, a lot of history there. Now, fast forward that to some of the other unique things. Probably about 8-10 years ago, Justin Profar. He was leading off a game. He was leading off a game for the Rangers, and he led off that game with a home run. And there was a press release, and I'm getting all these comments because my name was included in that press release. He became the third youngest guy to lead off the ball game with a home run. And you know who the youngest guy to lead off a ball game is, don't you? Thank you.
No, I don't.
I am. Yeah, I am.
Come on, really?
Yeah. So you didn't know all this history, did you?
I didn't know this. This is all a fun fact on Lou Klimchock, who's with us this morning.
But, yeah, that's kind of interesting, yeah.
So, all right, so Lou,
that was 19...
Yeah, you were young. 58-59, you're playing with Kansas City Athletics, a team that had, a young Roger Maris. What do you remember most about Roger Maris?
Roger, first of all, on the field, probably should have received more credit than he did, although sometimes they did. I mean, he had one heck of an arm. He was a good outfielder. And, obviously he was a good hitter. He just hadn't found that home run slot until he got into Yankee Stadium. But there's another thing that sticks out in my mind. Our director of player personnel, a guy by the name of George Selkirk. And if you want to read who George Selkirk was, he played with the Yankees, and I think he took Babe Ruth's place when he went out and played right field. But anyhow, George was the hitting instructor, and he just told Roger just to open up that front hip a little bit in his batting stance. And that's all he did, at the last 2 or 3 weeks of that season, and he started to pull the ball more. Okay, then he gets traded to the Yankees, and the rest is history. I mean, just that one little suggestion. So what Selkirk saw was he was kind of locking himself instead of getting out front.
So he always had, even at a young age, Maris always had the potential to pull the ball and hit home runs. You saw that at a young age.
Yeah, he had the power. And most of the balls that he was hitting, was to the deepest part of the field. Left center, center field, and right center. And once he got into Yankee Stadium, that was made for him, just to pull the ball.
So you play with the Kansas City Athletics, Lou, 58 through 61. You played with them 4 seasons. Now, why did the A's trade you? What happened there?
First of all, I was a second baseman coming up, and they start moving me around because they wanted me to play third. So I went back to AAA and played some third. Excuse me. And then after that, I played some first base and really struggled. And the downside of that 1961 year, Joe Gordon was our manager. And Joe and I had a pretty good relationship. So I was playing every day, till he got there. And then Joe didn't take anything from Charlie Finley. And they had a knockdown drag out. And, Joe just resigned right there. And that's when they put Hank Bauer in. And Hank Bauer started managing the team. And I didn't get to play much at all after that. And so I was thrown in on a trade with Bob Shaw, a pretty good pitcher. Bob and I went to Milwaukee for 3 or 4 ball players, with the Braves. So that's how I ended up in the Brave organization after the 1961 season.
And I think one of those players you were traded for was the later on the New York Met player Ed Charles. I believe he was one of them.
Ed Charles, and that's what they were looking for. They were looking for a third baseman in Kansas City, and Ed basically was smooth, and he was older. He was about 27 or 28, so he had a lot of experience. So that's what they were looking for to start developing a winning attitude right now versus player development. So that's why they let me go to the Braves.
All right, so you leave Kansas City, you head to Milwaukee, a team in 62-63, which I believe was managed by Bertie Tebbetts. Was that the manager at the time, 62-63?
Exactly. Yeah, Bertie Tebbetts. And again, the same situation there. Pinch hit, fill in, because when you have guys and you're sitting on the bench, you're watching Eddie Matthews at third and Bowling at second and Adcock at first, and some guy by the name of Aaron in right field. He didn't get many opportunities to play. And even the pitching staff hit. Spahn was such a good pitcher, and Burdette was such a good pitcher. We didn't even pinch hit. We didn't even have pinch hitters. I think me and Ty Klein was on that team. We went about 25 days without even getting in the ball game.
But I mean, Lou, being in the presence of three future Hall of Famers that you just mentioned, Spahn, Matthews, and Aaron. I mean, how good is that?
I had a pretty good seat watching them.
I wanted to ask you, Eddie Matthews, Aaron, and Spahn, how did they treat you?
Awesome. Very good. In fact, to get to know Eddie probably better than the other two. But Hank and I was very good friends because we played together with his brother, Tommy. Tommy and I played in the minor leagues a couple of years. So Hank and I are very, very good. And he, very gracious, and he would talk to you. And because he was kind of quiet, he didn't talk to too many guys, but he kind of, take you in, talk to you, and visit with you. Nothing elaborate or anything, but he was very social. Spahn pretty much stuck to himself at that time. And although I got to know Spahn afterwards, because I used to do a lot of alumni golf tournaments here in Arizona, and he used to come out and support me quite a bit. But I got to know Eddie real well. Eddie wasn't afraid to, excuse the expression again, drink a beer. So I, had a couple of beers with Eddie, and I learned more from these guys after the game, that I did in the clubhouse, because when they're in the clubhouse, they're concerned about who they are and what they're going to be doing today. You get them in a relaxed atmosphere, this is when they'll talk baseball. So I learned that at a pretty young age.
And Lou, when you traveled to away games during those years, who did you room with?
In Kent, in Milwaukee, as mentioned, Ty Klein was my roommate in Milwaukee. Getting back to Kansas City, had a right-handed pitcher by the name of Ken Johnson. So Ken pitched for Kansas City, and I think he went to Houston and really did a good job for Houston down there. Good knuckleball pitcher.
And we're talking with Lou Klimchock, who played for the 63 Washington Senators, Milwaukee Braves, and the 66 New York Mets. And I want to ask you, getting traded to Washington in 63, Lou, that was an odd year for the Senators. I believe that year, 63, they had three managers, right? I think Gil Hodges was one of them.
That was a very interesting year. In the fall of 62, number one, I got married at that time, but this is, and then I had to complete my military obligation. So I had to go into the service 2 weeks after my wedding. So after my wedding, the Senators bought me from the Braves conditionally, and the general manager now at Washington was George Selkirk. Okay, and again, this is a guy that I mentioned about Roger Maris, that George always befriended me, and he wanted to get me over there to Washington. So he didn't realize that I was in the service. So I had no spring training at all. I put my 6 months in the off season, and I got to spring training about a week before the season start, get a uniform and started getting in shape. But because they had purchased me conditionally, they had to keep me. And this didn't make some of the ball players too happy that were there for 6-7 weeks trying to make a ball club. But anyhow, same thing when I got to Washington. Mickey Vernon was the manager then, and I got a couple of pinch hit appearances and a couple of fill-in, but that was about it. And then they sent me back to the Braves, and they ended up in AAA in Denver with the Denver Bear Ball Club.
And then '66, you're playing at Shea Stadium for West Westrum.
Yes, and that's what I mentioned. In '66, I was down there on a AAA contract, and I had a real good spring training. Hit a couple of pinch hit home runs, and had a real good one. And I thought I was going to get an opportunity to play third base, but right halfway through spring training, they made a deal and purchased Kenny Boyer. So that screwed up my third baseman. And they were all set with Cranepole at first base, and Hunt was playing second base, so there was no spot for me other than to fill in. So that's why I got 4 or 5 pinch hit appearances, and I was back to AAA, and went to AAA down to Jacksonville, and that was a AAA club. And on that team, the '66 team in Jacksonville, I hate to say this, but we finished about 26 games out at first place. But our shortstop was Harrelson. Second baseman was Boswell. I played first base, and I won a silver glove playing first base. And we had a pitcher that wasn't too bad either, Tom Seaver.
Wow.
Okay,
wow.
So, but again, it was all young and all development type of guys. And I think Tug was even there for a while. And then eventually, 3 years later, these are the '69 Mets.
Yes, indeed. I know you made 5 game appearances as a New York Met player, but did you enjoy the fans at Shea Stadium in '66?
Oh yeah, yes. There's no place in speaking about Shea Stadium, and then maybe even getting back to Yankee Stadium in the American League. New York is such a great town. And I don't know who it was. It might have been somebody like a Roger Maris or a Bob Server. Bob Server, because he was a real good friend of mine, too. He said, Lou, you can get a hit in Kansas City. A couple of people know it. He said, you get a base hit in New York. He said, the whole world knows it. And that put things into perspective on what New York City was. But the fans, the people that I see, reading through the media that have a problem, are the guys that, I don't want to use, aren't hustling. If you give 100%, those New York people are going to love you, regardless of what the results are.
And I have a few minutes left with you, Lou, and then, you're off to, you end your career 68, 69, 70 with the Cleveland Indians. So you leave the Mets off to Cleveland. How was that transition for you? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, that was pretty much the same thing. And as one guy can really thank that, we mentioned Alvin Dark. And this is a time when there was a lot of military call-ups. So I was playing AAA in Portland and doing real well, playing as a AAA ball player. So somebody would go to the service, they'd bring me up for 2 weeks, and I'd go back. Well, a couple of times, Alvin says, I'm going to bring you to spring training in 1969. So he brought me to spring training in '69, and, I got off to a good start. Broke a hand that kept me out for about 6 weeks, but he brought me back around Memorial Day, and he told me how he was going to use me. So he got me in about 100 ball games, and that's when I hit about 287. That he gave me the opportunity to, because it's the first time in my career somebody played me every day in the big leagues. I could play in the minor leagues. That was easy. Okay, it wasn't easy, but I had more success there. But somebody giving you that opportunity and being successful at the major league level, I thank Alvin Dark for that. And plus, he got me enough time, to qualify the 5 years, for the pension benefits, that I still reap right now. And Alvin was a good friend.
Yeah, and then, that 68, 69 team, they had some good pitching pitchers. You had Louis Tiant, the young Louis Tiant. You had Sam McDowell. These were, iconic names now. But again, 2 really strong ball players in Tiant and Sam McDowell.
And Sonny Siebert was pretty good. And we mentioned Steve Harrigan. He was pretty good.
Stan Williams,
too.
Right?
And Stan Williams is there also. Yeah.
Eddie Fisher, Mike Paul, Vicente Romo. There's a bunch.
Yeah. Horacio, Pena and Romo, man, those two guys could really bring it. You know, as far as the bullpen is concerned, they did a great job for us. And then that's when Fosse came up too, and Ray was my roommate in Cleveland, you know, he really handled them well. You know, that pitching staff.
And I have 1 minute left, Lou. Do you still follow the game? What do you think of the players of today compared to the players of the 60s and 70s?
Yeah, I was involved in a lot of youth baseball. In fact, I had a grandson, you know, played about 10, 11 years of minor league baseball. But anyhow, the kids today are bigger, stronger, quicker, have more talent. They just need to develop more at the minor league level. If they would take the Ted Williams theory, you give that hitter 1,500 at bats in the minor leagues before you bring them up. Because you're going to learn your mistakes down there in the minor leagues, you know, versus learning them at the major league. You know, the major leagues is a doing league, and it's not a trying league like the minor leagues. So I think that. But the talent, I mean, I can't believe some of the plays that they can make, diving for balls, some of the way they hit the ball. I would just like to see, and you got a guy, he's from Arizona here. I'm glad to see him back, and that's Cody Bellinger. Bellinger is hitting now the way he hit as a junior in high school, except now he weighs 210 or 215 instead of 150. He used to spray the ball to left center, right center, and he didn't strike out much. You know, along the line, they wanted him to start pulling the ball, and that's why he went downhill. Nope. Cody and his dad, Clay, they did a pretty good job of making an adjustment with all the things that are going on out there with the metrics and, hey, we want you to pull and loft the ball and hit home runs. So a hitter has to decide which way he wants to go.
Lou, thank you so much for your time. Great job. Happy holidays to you and your family, and let's keep in touch. Maybe we could do a part 2.
Exactly. If you ever get into the Tempe area, give me a call.
Yes, sir. Lou Klimchock, everyone. Lou Klimchock. Until next week, happy collecting to all.